David Menzies for Rebel News here at Toronto City Hall. Well, folks, as you know, all across North America, there have been some protests of late. These protests are by citizens who just want to get back to work, get back to school. They want to be doing something as opposed to just staying at home, doing nothing during this coronavirus crackdown. We covered one such protest on Saturday on the lawns of Queen's Park here in Toronto. And could it be that some elected officials are getting the message that it's time to get the economy rolling again? For example, just a few days ago, Toronto Mayor John Tory released details of a strategy called Recover and Rebuild. Now, what I find interesting about this so-called strategy is the hiring of two individuals to front it. One is Dr. David Mowat. He's Ontario's former Chief Medical Officer of Health. And the other is Saad Rafi. He was the CEO of the 2015 Pan Am Games that were held in this city, or the Pan Scam Games, as I like to call them. This was the multi-billion-dollar boondoggle for some games that nobody wanted and barely anybody bought tickets to see. It cost 10 times more than the revenue that it took in. Yeah, so he's one of the individuals that's going to be leading this economic recovery, if you can believe it. And what has me shaking my head in disbelief is, why are these two individuals needed in the first place? For starters, this mandate is a provincial one, not a municipal one. What is the city wading into this territory for in the first place? And secondly, if you want to get the economy reopened, you know how you do it? You just say, hey, everybody, open for business. And if it has to be a so-called yellow light opening, well, that's fine. We already know the template. Since this pandemic began, there have been select retailers allowed to open. The Walmarts, the Costcos, the LCBOs, the beer stores, several grocery stores, they've all been functioning. And we already know what the protocol is in terms of the signage, the hand sanitizer, the floor directions, the plexiglass partitions at the checkout. So what is Dr. Mowat and Mr. Rafi going to bring to the table? And by the way, these two individuals don't come cheap. They're going to make both $200,000, more than $200,000 each. So in other words, when you crunch the numbers, Dr. Mowat's going to clear 50 grand a month, and Mr. Rafi is going to clear in the neighborhood of $35,000 per month. Yeah, that's right. These two lifelong bureaucrats are going to make more in 1 month than many Canadians make in 1 year. And for what? What can they tell entrepreneurs that they don't already know? Well, I guess we have the moral of this story, don't we, folks? If you ever wondered why Mayor Tory was on Twitter bragging about how many honest, law-abiding, tax-paying citizens were getting those $880 COVID-19 bylaw infraction tickets, well, I guess now we know. That's the salary of Dr. Mowat and Mr. Rafi have to come from somewhere. So in other words, while you weren't looking during this global pandemic, Mayor Tory put the gravy train back on the rails. For Rebel News, I'm David the Menzoid Menzies. Hey folks, have you been treated unfairly by law enforcement or bylaw? Have you been given one of those COVID-19 $880 tickets? Well, please tell us your story at fightthefines.com. That's fightthefines.com. If we think your story has merit, we'll go to bat for you by hiring a lawyer to take your case to court and fight for justice. And if you don't have a story for us, folks, please visit fightthefines.com. We're trying to crowdfund the fees for the lawyers we're using. And this is all about getting justice in this day and age of the Wuhan virus. So once again, fightthefines.com. Tell us your story or make a donation if you can.